should be moved outskirts of the town so that you don't cause another epidemic.
Well, we hope that the Honourable Minister is hearing us because he's a very active minister. So I hope that he addresses all these issues within the FCT.
Hello, everyone. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning, and this is FCT Brief, and we are reaching you live from our Abuja studio. And just like yesterday, where we talked about insecurity in the northern parts of Nigeria, we're shifting our focus today to a story that affects millions of Nigerians across the country, and that is regional development. While some parts of the nation are thriving, others continue to struggle with poverty, poor infrastructure, and limited access to basic services. So what are the challenges holding these regions back? What are the prospects for change? And what do citizens expect from their leaders? That will be our target on the show today. But first, let's tell you that from the bustling commercial cities to the quiet and often forgotten rural areas, the story of development in some regions is one of imbalance. Access to quality healthcare, education, good roads, clean water, reliable electricity remains a daily struggle in many communities.
But despite these challenges, there are signs of hope. Across the region, small-scale development projects from youth empowerment schemes to agricultural cooperatives are beginning to take root. Development experts are of the view that the key lies in inclusive policies, better funding, and a stronger partnership between government, private sector, and regional leaders. Now the expectations are clear. Communities want more than promises. They want action. As the next budget cycle approaches, citizens are watching closely, hopefully that their voices will be heard and that change will finally reach their doorstep. To bring more clarity to the conversation on the changes citizens in the northern region should expect in the coming days, weeks, or months, we have in the studio the Honourable Minister of State for Regional Development, Uba Maigari Amadu. It's good to have you in our studio this morning, Honourable Minister.
You're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you for joining us. Let's start with the basics. Your ministry is still relatively new, I guess less than a year old.
Yeah.
Well, as President Tinubu's administration marks 2 years, how far have you come in setting clear goals and targets for regional development?
That's a good way to start. Thanks for having me. I'm glad to be here once again. Well, I think we've started very well. If you followed our trajectory of growth from the ministry, I'm sure you will give us a pass mark. Okay. But let me just reel out 1, 2, 3 things we've been doing since its inception. The ministry was created in October 2024. That was last year. And charged with the responsibility of conceiving, developing ideas to manage commissions. Essentially, our task is to oversee development commissions. When we took off, initially we had 4 active development commissions. That was the Northeast Development Commission, the Northwest Development Commission, of course the NDDC, and I think the South Development Commission now is on board. We have the Southeast Development Commission as well. Altogether, we have 7 development commissions in place. Like you rightly observed, we are 2 ministers in the ministry, and I've been saddled with the responsibility of overseeing the commissions in the North. That is the Northeast Development Commission, the Northwest Development Commission, and the recently enabled North Central Development Commissions. Like the name suggests, we are in charge of regional development. But what are we doing? We have inherited the reins of the regions of old, but without disrupting the constitutional structure the Nigeria runs on. What do I mean? Over the years, there have been yearnings from, and if you ask me, very germane reasons too, for development. In the forum, I heard you talking about unparalleled development, unequal development of the regions. Yes, part of the regions, yes. And we've been charged directly to oversee these commissions and go to these regions and implement what those regions take as matters of priority. For the North, you know that basically agriculture is the mainstay of the northern economy. But before that, we have as areas of concern looking at education, security, without which you cannot do anything. And we've been challenged of late with issues of banditry, insurgency. Of course, we thank God and we thank our military for the intervention. We've had issues with health, issues with education, and such other negatives. But thank God, we are facing them frontally, and gradually are unreal some of the things we are doing to change the narrative, at least from the northern perspective.
Okay, let's look at it this way. We already have state governments.
Yes.
And how do you intend driving this initiative? You talked about agriculture and all that, without running like a parallel government, duplicating the functions of the various state governments. So you might just be a new ministry, but going forward, how do you intend to distinguish the development commissions in achieving its objectives?
The roles of the state, the subnationals, are very clear. There are three organs of government: the federal, the state, and the local government. The federal government, of course, run by a President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has a very clear line of demarcation. How do we effect the changes we campaigned on during the 2023 elections? How? We are supposed to deal directly with the states and the local governments implementing federal government programs. We're supposed to be partners, development partners. We are not supposed to be running parallel governments. We don't just throw projects on states. No. First and foremost, we engage the states and needs assessment, going down to the local governments. We are supposed to complement the efforts of the states and the local government in those areas. So it's very clear there are no areas of conflict. They are our partners, and we are all working for the development of the nation through these commissions.
We know that every region in Nigeria is different. Some need roads, others need jobs and schools. So how do you decide which area gets what and when? Especially, you have mentioned that you are in charge of overseeing the areas in the north, which are, have their own specific challenges. How do you determine who gets what and at what time?
I just told you that we undertake needs assessment tours. But very recently, we pulled away from the main task running the commissions from the Secretariat and engaged development partners and resource persons in a 5-day retreat we had in Lagos. It was a wonderful engagement, and we brainstormed on so many issues. What we are doing is we are doing a lot differently. You would have noticed, if you are watching closely, that these commissions are not just commissions by name, they are commissions on ground. I'll give you examples, clear examples. Take the Northeast Development Commission for example. It has been in existence since 2017. That's like 6 years now. They have intervened in areas of education, health, but specifically, we are turning around things, and I'll give you examples. Recently, the federal government, under the renewed hope agenda of President Asiwaju Tinubu, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, graciously approved what we call the e-mobility project. What is it about? It's about transiting from the regular transportation system in the north. Of course, we have our challenges in the northeast, accessing far-flung areas with allowing petrol tankers into the interior where there are issues around security. We devised a way of going around those problems by getting e-vehicles, reducing emission and gaining carbon credits along the way. We are pioneering this in the Northeast. We are also using special vehicles, e-vehicles of course, for the movements of goods and services. That's for transportation. For health, we developed a program targeted at putting on ground women and children hospitals. Why women and children hospitals? You will agree with me that especially for the North, We have issues of the prevalence of VVF, cleft, and issues around malnutrition of children. They are related between diseases that affect or afflict women and children. So we are dedicating specifically these women and children hospitals to address these problems for health. And for education, we're going back to the basics. What do I mean? We're targeting secondary schools that are in the worst state of dilapidation, taking 2 secondary schools per senatorial zone to take them back to where they were at inception, giving our children conducive atmosphere for learning, securing them while in school, and taking them back to where they should be by engaging them in small-scale agriculture for sustenance while in school to supplement government's activities towards their feeding. Not like to sell and make money, no, but to expose them very early to life's basics. When they graduate and move on, at least they would have gotten some skills. Okay. We're also doing a lot around skills, accelerated skills development. You know that we have an army of restless youth in the north, and to leave them just there is terrifying. What do we want to do? Where not everyone wants to go to university. By the way, now acquiring skills makes a lot of sense because they are highly rated and paid very well. So we are putting these people together, this constituency of youth that are not too busy, training them and training them in specific areas like sport welding, fabrication, installation of solar panels, and even scaffolding and skills like that to prepare them for the future, so that we take them off the streets and they earn the living and contribute their quota to the GDP. Okay, I quite like the aspect of the e-mobility you talked about. But my worry also is, if I got you right, my worry is a larger community in the north are without electricity. So I don't know how you intend driving this in. Place it side by side the agricultural value chain. Where does the Development Commission come in so that you don't duplicate what the states are doing? So is it in primary production? Is it in processing? So where do you come in to help in agriculture? Let me answer you first around the issue of electricity or lack of it. I forgot to tell you that these vehicles are just the hardware part. We also have, as part of the contract, to provide charging stations. Each base has a charging station as part of the contract. For instance, now, if we take Taraba State, where I come from, we have a central park located. We intend to have a central park located in the capital city. Or of course, we also have the charging port or the charging center, charging station, however you call it, just there located in the same facility. This is not going to be used by only our own vehicles, no. It's open also to private e-vehicle owners to charge for a fee. That is for charging. That takes care of that aspect. Back to your question on how it impacts on agriculture. You know that there are problems around moving goods, and farmers lose a lot during evacuation of products from the farms back to the city. And I told you also that there are problems with accessing petrol at those very special areas, and it's even for security concerns. If you track them very well, you know that the bandits and the insurgents and those criminals use petrol usually around those areas. So this e-mobility project is also going to help a lot in taking out those opportunities to criminals by deploying e-vehicles. How it affects agriculture. If you know anything about irrigation, you know that our farmers spend a lot of money on fueling their pumps. That is the petrol, conventional petrol pumps. We are substituting that with solar pumps now. But before then, you use petrol, you run the pumps, you go your farm, evacuate them, then you take them to the city. But most times, you spend, the farmers, that is, they spend a lot of money on consumables. And How the commissions are coming in, we are not going into farming directly, but we are intervening by supplying those farmers, the commission that is by supplying those farmers input to grow better and even providing extension services to those farmers. For the start, we have identified 5,000 hectares per state. For the Northeast, that would amount to 30,000 hectares to grow specific crops, like depending on where the farm is located. If it's in Borno, for instance, where wheat, corn, barley is grown, we encourage them to do that with a special off-taker arrangement. Most times, our farmers lose a lot and lose revenue because of the rush to take their products to the market for liquidity. But the role of the commission here is to off-take those products, save the farmer from losing money by giving him money he needs either to pay for school fees or attend to daily needs. Subsequently, when the value of the products are stable in the market, he has access to them and he makes one. So in a nutshell, we're helping farmers earn more money and gain economic stability. And Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu has a well-cut-out program in this for the commissions, and we're implementing them step by step.
All right. The World Bank says that poverty in Nigeria could get worse over the next few years. And if I may be specific, a specific report by the World Bank says 36% would be the poverty rate in the next 5 years through to 2027. Yeah. If I would ask, this is quite an alarming figure, but what is your ministry doing in terms of its activities to change that story?
I just told you the part we're doing from agri, empowering our farmers by getting them quality.
Any other
of course, yes. You know that there are some things that have been, some policies that have been put in place by this government that people are not paying attention to. I'll give you one. Just a few weeks ago at council, Mr. President, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, unilaterally, of course, the council agreed to stop people from giving local producers the right of first refusal, so to speak. If there are goods or services that are available in Nigeria, you can't go out to import those services. And how does it impact on the economy? Those locally producing those items have been given a life because they have the right of first refusal. Industries will be revitalized. So many of such industries that have been comatose because of one reason or the other will go back to business. That will discourage importing all sorts and dumping on Nigeria. Also, strengthening the Naira, conserving forex, strengthening the Naira around that window. There are so many things we are doing that people need to pay attention to. Freeing the local governments is one very critical decision that has been taken by this government led by Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Before now, chairmen of local governments merely just go to their local governments and stay for a week at most, then just vanish into the thin air. But now, the resources have been taken back to the local governments. And they are, I know for a matter of fact that they are putting those money where they should be now. Rejigging the system from the local government areas, restarting the economy of the local government, where you employ bricklayers, builders, laborers, and so many people are engaged, getting them busy and earning money for themselves. There are so many things we are doing in that direction. I think people need to pay more attention to those areas. Okay, because eventually they are those that matter, not the figures from the World Bank.
Okay, and let's also pay attention to these aspects. Still dwelling on agriculture. Yeah. I know central to the northern state is agriculture. It's very key. Yeah. But over time, we know there's this tradition of producing the raw materials, producing the crops, and moving them down to south to make money. Is the commission also thinking like, for instance, producing grains to have a processing a facility in the north? You don't have to move your raw stuff to the south. Are we looking at an intervention that we say, okay, the commission is looking at this, whether it is animal, we want to have a processing lab where animals are slaughtered, and it is the finished one that is mowed down. Is the commission thinking about this?
That is a very good one. I would have thought maybe you had an inside view of what we are doing. Just yesterday, we took possession of a document we commissioned for the Northeast. I'm talking about the Northeast because of the 3 commissions in the North. It is the one that has been active for 6 years now. The Northwest and the North Central are taking off now. They will take off very well, and we will replicate virtually all the things we are doing in the Northeast with the other commissions. But back to your question. This project, I just told you we took possession of yesterday, is about poultry, an integrated poultry and feed mill company that the Northeast Development Commission is putting forward to implement on the ground. What do we intend to do? In direct answer to your question, we'll grow our basic raw material, which is soya beans, maize, and other crops like that, process them there, right there, where they are grown for the feed mill. And of course, we have the feed mill feeds the poultry component. And we have a production line, a whole production line attached to process the poultry there and then. There are so many other things we're doing. I'll tell you some of them. We have a program for regional airline. We have commissioned already, a consultant has submitted his report. We want to do a regional airline between the 6 states of the Northeast. They are going to be the owners. They will contribute equity, but mostly we've gotten technical partners from Qatar who will supply the aircraft, and we're wrapping up all the details. And also, it may surprise you to know that we're into also, we have a program to put on ground a Northeast rail to evacuate, basically evacuate finished products now to our neighbors. The rail line is supposed to run through the 6 states of the region and terminate in the Calabar. You'll ask me, why Calabar? Calabar is the closest port to the north, to the Northeast, that is. And it may sound as if it's undoable, but we are ambitious for a purpose. We are doing this to reposition the economy of the North, to show that we can do these things and transit from the basics that we've been doing for a very long time to what we intend to do subsequently. Before I round up from that investment, and we also have plans to set up a Northeast pharmaceutical company to supply drugs to our health facilities and also export to our neighbors. Those are a few things we are doing around investment to secure the economy of the North and stop our raw materials from taking them away to maximize benefits around the complete or total value chain.
Okay. The rail line, a lot of people will agree, it's a viable, very viable because of the mass movement of even people in the rural community. But when you talk about airline, don't you think it's an ambitious project that you may not necessarily want to go into? Because how many airlines are viable in the north at the moment, and you want to have a northern airline? Don't you think?
But I told you that we are ambitious for a reason. You know, I'm sure you know Ibom Air is owned by Akwa Ibom State. And what makes you think we can't also run a very successful airline? Akwa Ibom alone runs Ibom Air. And we're talking about 6 states here now. We are not defeatist in our mindset. We are progressive, and we are confident that we'll put it on ground, God willing, and it will be a success.
All right, Honorable Minister, I would like us to take a critical assessment of the Tinubu administration so far. It's been 2 years, and we're looking, a lot of people are looking at the scorecard. Let's take security, health, education, and the economy. And some critics say that the government's claim of progress doesn't match what Nigerians are currently feeling at the moment. How do you respond to this?
It depends on who you speak to. There is the tendency to bring in politics into everything we do in this country.
Well, I thought government is for the common man. And the common man on the street right now has a different thing to say than what government is.
I don't know which common man you're speaking to, but the common people we speak to daily have a different view, and they are all praises for the government. You talk about agric, you talk about food production, you go to the markets and ask what are the prices of the basic food, staple food crops that people have been complaining about? How much were they costing like 3-4 months ago, and what do they cost now? Maybe you're talking to the wrong set of common people.
Well, if you say those are not Nigerians, I wonder why.
The people that we talk to are all praises for our government and indeed the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, I'm just being realistic.
Since we're talking about the assessing the government so far, let's look at security also. It's also a key challenge in the north. And if we don't get the aspect of security right, it will also affect our food production. And if it affects food production, it would affect the income that comes to the northern states. How concerned is the Commission in helping to return farmers to their farms, move them away from the various IDPs, and make sure that they go to the farm, earn money as they farm, and also help to develop the northern region?
Before that, let me use this opportunity to say a big thank you to the Nigerian Armed Forces combined. These are gallant people that have left their families, sacrificed their lives, paid the supreme price to make sure that this country survives. And we cannot thank them enough. Having said that, there is virtually nothing you can do without security. You must have a secure environment to engage in your daily pursuits, even coming to work like the ones we do, you and I do. The government is doing a lot. You would have noticed sincerely now that, take for instance, the issues we used to have between Abuja and Kaduna along the rail line, issues around the unfortunate cases of kidnapping on the Abuja-Kaduna train, and virtually in all states of the Northwest except Kano, Kaduna, and perhaps Kano and Jigawa maybe. But the story is changing. Even take Kaduna for example. I'm sure you know Birnin Gwari, since you are a very active journalist. I'm sure that if you go back, check again, you will find out that it's been very, very long we had any unfortunate stories like that. Some of these things are better not brought to the open. If I know, because of the responsibility of holding public office, if I know some facts or details around that, I wouldn't come here to say, okay, we've done this or done that. But in a nutshell, this government, under the leadership of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has more than any other government, and I want you to take me to more than any other government, done so much for the security of lives. It is the #1 priority of government to secure lives and properties of this, the citizens of this country. It is matching its words with practical action. But for the commissions, specifically now, we are investing a lot in security. We are partnering with the security agencies to improve on what they are doing by giving them support. I wouldn't go into details of that, this and that, but we're doing so much, collaborating with them, providing what they need in all those areas to make their work easier, secure lives, and make sure that we chase the criminals out of town.
Let's narrow down to Kano State. Artisans over there at the over 500-year-old Kofa Mata dye pits are almost running out of business due to the dilapidated state of the pits. How is your ministry coming in to support this set of artisans?
We have a whole development. We have a whole department called Economic Development Department in the ministry, where policies are developed to solve issues like that. But specifically, the Northwest Development Commission, which is about to take off. Of course, it has its office, has its management. We're waiting for a few things to get things started. I spoke to you earlier on about training. The training the intense accelerated training program, skills training program for the youth, especially for those in the Northwest, does not end with only the metal fabrication welding aspect I spoke about. It's all encompassing, including the dye pits. These dye pits have been in existence in Kano for over 1,000 years now. And if we cannot improve on their ways of doing the business, that means there's no point intervening. But I will tell you that very soon we intend to take it out. Take it out in the sense that we will look at what they've been doing for all these years and improve on their processes. We will train them and take them back to where they are comfortable. That is the Kano community. But not doing what they've been doing for all these years. We will improve on their capacity, get them equipment, and make sure that they are also taking through the entrepreneurial part so that they run those dye pits and their dyeing business successfully as a business, probably export. You know what Ogun State government is doing with Adire? So this is the headquarters now. Their own is another level, but what they do in Kano is something else.
So we'll have a healthy competition.
Oh yes, if given the opportunity to improve on their skills, I'm sure they will go places. Probably export to China instead of reversing the trade.
Honorable Minister, we'll definitely keep our eye on that. Thank you so much for your contributions on the program. That's where we'll leave the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's our package for today. We hope that you enjoy the conversation. We will now hand you over to our Lagos studio where Veronica and the rest of the crew are standing by to proceed with the rest of the show.
All right. Thank you to Jesu and Eshamamo for that interesting conversation. Back